friends, how are you? I'm Michelle and this is my channel, Penny's Daughter Shares, where I talk primarily about cross stitch, and today is no different. So I do get involved in some other crafts once in a while, but today is all about the cross stitch again. If you are new here, thank you so much for joining me. I hope you enjoy what you see, and if you do, please like the video, please hit the subscribe button, and you could also tap on the bell that will give you notifications when I upload a new video. If you are returning, thank you so much for coming back. And for those of you returning just from my previous video, this one came really quick. I decided that I wanted to have, I'm calling it an even cutoff for my fall starts and other sort of fall activities, which I have, believe it or not, I have more FFOs finally to share with you. And so I wanted to wrap up the fall sort of starts, and that's why I'm doing another video this close to the previous one. And for those of you in the US, we have Thanksgiving coming in a few days. So it's a good transition time for me to move on to my winter and Christmas stitching that I have plans for. So I am going to start with, I am awarding myself bonus points today because we got up and did our morning walk like we do pretty much every day. And so that's a 3.1 miles, 5K. The reason for the bonus points today, here in Michigan, it was 27 when we went outside, and it felt like 24. It was quite chilly, but like I said, we did it, and I'm awarding myself bonus points. The first thing I want to talk about is something that I've had a couple of questions about, and in the past, and it came up again recently, so I want to go over it on video. And it has to do with that, what I think is a cool Spartan head here in the background. And I often have questions about where I got the chart and when I stitched it. Well, let me tell you, it's not cross stitch. I'm going to show it to you a little bit close up. This is actually the front of a t-shirt. And if I thought of it, I would have gotten a picture around. Our middle son, Justice, wore this shirt when he was, I don't know, 2. I'm going to say about 2 years old. It was a very small shirt, and it just had this cool. So this is a, what do I want to call it? A charger plate, right? When you set a table, metal. And I basically, it's been a while since I did this, put this together, but I think that I used a piece of sticky board and I laced the back of this to pull it tight onto that sticky board, glued it to the charger, and then it needed a little trim, and I found these beads, and that was before I knew a lot about craft glue and like what to use or what people would use for something like this. So my awesome husband, who comes up with solutions for some of my crazier ideas, used a bead of silicone and that's how the beads are attached. But that is what this is. So it's obviously, I'm a Spartan fan. For anyone that's been around, you know that. That's where I graduated from. And this piece has extra special memory because it was a shirt that one of our kids wore when they were little. So it's just fun. I always remember that and can picture him having this shirt on when I look at this. So I wanted to explain what this was. It's not cross stitch, but it's fun. And I guess technically I'm not talking just about cross stitch today. Let's head into the cross stitching portion of the video. And like I said at the beginning, I have 2 FFOs to share with you today. I finally got a bit of mojo to just get some things done. And I think part of it was trying to wrap up or have that even cutoff with the fall type projects. I think that kind of helped. As I show these to you, I can explain to you a couple other reasons why I got further along with them than I have in a while. For anyone that doesn't know, or as a reminder, Jen from Two Tall Stitchers and I started the FFO Challenge 2023 at the beginning of the year as a way to get ourselves to get more of those projects out of storage, whatever that means for you or us. I have a drawer. I think Jen has a bin. I know other people keep them under their bed in a bin. There's other drawers, there's other containers, baskets, whatever it is. Get those things out and let's get them FFO'd so we can enjoy them. And it's been a fantastic adventure. One for the 2 of us because our plan sort of came together and we had these goals and we've both far exceeded our goals. But everyone else that's gotten involved too. It's been so fun and so encouraging. And that reminds me, I have had a question from someone that asked if we planned on doing this next year. And Jen and I have talked about it and we definitely think that we will continue to do this next year for ourselves even. Set ourselves up with some goals again. And we'll come up with a new hashtag, although it'll probably just be change it to 2024 instead of 2023. And then everyone can still join in. We can still try to follow each other. We know what a pain hashtags are right now, right? But maybe they'll improve that again. I don't know. So anyway, all that to be said, FFO Challenge 2023. I am going to show you number 48 and number 49 for me for this year. And the big sampler in the background is intended to be number 50, and I intend to get to that sooner rather than later. So let's talk number 48 for the year for me. And this is the FFO that I've talked about in the last couple of episodes that I wasn't even going to show you that I had worked on because I was not happy with it. And I was able to get it actually fully finished now. Here is the chart picture. It is a brace face from Raise the Roof. I'm pretty sure this chart is out of print. I purchased it on one of the Stash Unload groups on Facebook. And yeah. So I stitched this in honor of both Vivian and Justice got braces on summer of 2022, and I got this and I had the stitching done in 2022. I now finally have a full finish. So let's show it to you. And I am so tickled with it now. Here it is. So let me give you the details. Stitching details, it's stitched on 40 count bird cage from xjudesigns, and that means 1 floss thread over 2 linen threads. I'm just looking at my video as I'm talking to you and realized there are grid lines on my video and there isn't usually when I record, which just seems weird to me. I wonder what, I must have hit a button. Anyway, it won't affect you when you watch. So that's the linen, 1 floss thread over 2 linen threads. I used some called for colors, but I did several conversions because I didn't, either dye lots have changed and so that made me not like the particular color as well, or I just didn't care for the particular color choice, and or it wasn't going to show up on my fabric very well. So that is a mix of my choice and called for. Let's see. Oh, and the braces themselves are stitched with, I would have to look for sure on the exact details. I'm pretty sure it's a Krynic and it's a silver shade. So that's the stitching. And pulling out, let's see, because I can't remember. There's one. So in a couple spots here, I put initials for my kids. Obviously, I stitched the year in, which I always do, and I have my own initials on here, over here. But that way, I have the memory of this, that's when they got their braces on. And they're still wearing them. They're not off yet. So at least I got it done before they got the braces off. Okay, that takes care of the stitchy details. Full finish details. This is just a piece that I got from Hobby Lobby. It's a, one of those box frames, and I think it says home on it that I covered up. So I laced my piece over a piece of mat board that I covered with a piece of batting. Why are words feeling really difficult today? I'm not sure. And so like I said, I laced it, and then I have magnets and washers that I'm using on the back of the piece to attach it to this frame box item that I'm using. So this is where I was stuck. I had laced this, and by the way, it took me extra long to lace this one because my fabric margins were quite a bit smaller than usual when I lace something. And so I felt like I needed to do the lacing closer together to pull the fabric evenly. It just took me a really long time. And maybe it was just that I was out of practice too, I don't know. But I got done. I had none of this extra on there. And I put it in this frame and I did not like it. It didn't look like it worked with this frame. There was too much fabric showing. I just was not happy with it. And to be honest, when I pulled it out on Saturday and looked at it, then I was like, oh, it doesn't look too bad, but it does still need something. I just wasn't loving it, but it wasn't as bad as I felt earlier. So my partner in crime with this FFO challenge, Jen, and I had a fun video chat on Saturday, and this was one of the things we talked about. I mean, we talk about FFOs in general and stitching and everything, but this one I made sure I wanted to show it to her. Could we, let's talk about it. And so between the two of us and just talking through things, I don't know. I know she gave me the idea to go across the corner, but originally we were talking like maybe around across the two corners at the top. And somehow then we talked about, add something down here, a piece of ribbon or something, just to kind of ground it. And then I had thought about adding this cute little charm a few days ago. And when that came from one of my project bags from Jenni at Patchwork and Poppies. And I think the intention behind it was either floss bling or maybe as a zipper pull. You can correct me, Jenni, if I'm getting that wrong. And then I intended to put it on as a zipper pull on the bag it came with. And I had just kind of set it aside though, because I was thinking about it. And when I looked at it again, I thought that is the perfect thing if I could add it onto this particular piece, because it's already a special piece, and then I add that extra special embellishment. And so we just were talking about those things. I showed her the components. So we came up with the plan. I was going to put something down here to kind of ground it and work on using that also to go across one corner, and then I was going to incorporate that charm. So I think Saturday night before I went to bed, I was like, some jute twine is what I need to add to this. And so when I came in here on Sunday and started putting it together, and that's what I did. The hardest part of it was trying to get this across the corner and keep it on the corner and it not slide off and tie it on there. So that is Brace Face from Raise the Roof, and I am just pleased as punch with it now. So I'm really excited, and even though it's Halloween looking, it's gonna sit out probably at least from now until next year at Halloween and fall time, so that we can enjoy it because of the special meaning behind it. So that is FFO number 48 for the year. And now let's talk FFO number 49. This is another one that kind of like, why haven't I gotten it done sooner? I had all the pieces and parts. It is Four Seasons Folk Autumn from Hands On Design. Now, this chart is not available freely to purchase yet. I think I worded that okay. This was our main project for Chantelle's 141 Pep Rally Retreat this year in September. And just a quick, I last minute was joining this retreat. I hadn't gotten the pre-stitch materials, ahead of time enough to be able to have my stitching done and ready. So I couldn't, because the full finishing went on at the retreat, which was awesome. But I just didn't get it done. But I had all the components to do it. So that is the chart picture. And I made a couple of changes because I was able to start my stitching before the retreat, but I knew I couldn't finish it. But I couldn't get my piece of fabric from Chantelle timing wise. So I just pulled something out of my linen library. So here is my full finish. Isn't it cool? Why did it take me so long? I love it so much. All right, so let me talk how I stitched it. It is on 32 count Sampler. I don't know if I'm pronouncing that right. A Sampler by Color and Cotton. It was one of their monthly club pieces from a while ago. So that was the fabric, the called for fabric for this is 32 count. So that's why I chose 32. It is, so because it's 32 count, that means I stitched 2 floss threads over 2 linen threads. And I used the called for colors except for one change. So like these penny motifs, they would have used a shade of blue, and I swapped the shade of blue for Classic Colorworks Campfire. Because it's an autumn piece, blue doesn't say autumn to me. Plus, if you've been around, you know blue's not my favorite, so I tend to swap it out. Although sometimes I think about that because I see some of these very beautiful blue things. I don't know, it's just still not my favorite. I don't know why. But I think it turned out really awesome to have subbed in the campfire. It just looks more autumn inspired for my taste. So yeah, and then I don't know if you can see on there is 1, 2, yep, okay, so 1, 2, 3 rows of specialty stitches. Those we also learned and did during the retreat. So this is really fun. Kathy has said there will be a series of 4 of these, and I believe that she said next year at Needlework Market that she'll release all 4, but don't quote me on that because maybe I misunderstood and maybe it's this one that's coming out then. I'm not sure, but definitely will want to stitch the other 3 now that I've done this one. So the full finishing details, everything was included in our class kit, except I added this acorn jingle bell. But like these cool little wool leaves and the jute twine for the top, all of that, the backing fabric, the rickrack, the boards that everything's mounted on, all included. And then this really awesome paddle board, which you can see the design is lasered in, is from Chantelle's 141. It's awesome. I just love it. It's so fun. It was a really fun project. If I could do anything differently, it just would have been that I would have had enough time to have gotten my stitching done before the retreat, that I could have done the full finish at the retreat with everyone else. But life is life, and this is how it worked out for me. So I'm just really tickled with that. So that is 4 Seasons Folk Autumn from Hands On Design and from the Pep Rally Retreat with Chantelle's 141. That is number 49 for the year. Now that I showed you the FFOs that I finally have, yay! Let's move on to my Celebrate 50 Start Along. And I have 3 more starts to share with you today. And this, like I said, wraps up my fall and Halloween starts. Again, you'll see I added something in that I hadn't intended earlier on, or the last time I did a video, I added one in. And I'll explain that when I show it to you. The first thing I want to do is, in the Flosstube comments, I have gotten several more people who have talked about their intentions to join me or have joined me. And again, that doesn't mean that they're starting 50 new things. They might be starting more than 50. They might be starting 5. It's different for anybody, and by no means does my hashtag mean you have to start 50. But if you want to start some new things just because, then join us and let us know that you're doing that. So I just wanted to share a few more names of people who are joining along. I have Sarah, Kim, Robin, Heidi, Kristen, Karen, and Luann. So I forgot to write down how many there were last time, but that was 7. Yeah, we're up to at least 15 to 20 people who have told me that they are joining along. So it's very fun to see. Up first is number 22 overall, and it is housed in my Tiger Lily project keeper that we got in October. And you'll see why. Well, I think this lends itself to fall type stitching, and I really wanted to use it, so I decided it was for these starts that I was starting right now. Sorry for the Velcro noise. And let's talk. Here's the chart picture. Like I said, this is number 22 overall of my new starts. This is Stacy Nash's Gather Thy Harvest Pinkeep. Yes, I said that right. Reading it backwards in the video, not very easy to do. And let me get my board and set this up. Here is my start. Isn't it gorgeous? Love, 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 love. Love the fabric. So let's talk about that. It is 40 count from xjudesign, and it is Halloween pumpkin. And I laid it out, started this. Yes, it was a center start, because I was able to figure it out and make sure I wanted the basket to be in a certain spot. So, and then be able to have these other colors kind of showing as through the rest of the stitching comes together. So because that's 40 count Halloween pumpkin, that means 1 floss thread over 2 linen threads. And I am stitching using all the called for Weeks Dye Works flosses. Now, it is possible I may need to make a few adjustments as I'm stitching because of my fabric and whether or not the floss color shows. But my intention right now is all called for. So yeah, so that is Start 22, Gather Thy Harvest Pinkeep from Stacy Nash. Love a white pumpkin. All right. And because I'm sharing just 3 starts this time, it's going to be a little easier for me to stay organized. I don't have to do as much fussing with everything. Okay, number 23 in the starts is housed in this bag, which, take note, it's a Halloween bag, right? It is from Jenni at Patchwork and Poppies, and this was our October club bag. If you chose Halloween, I think she had another option, maybe it was fall. I chose Halloween, so. This is the new start that was a late addition, and I'll explain why that is here in just a minute. Here is the chart picture, Plum Street Samplers, Goodie Grimwood. You can see that a little up close. I fell in love with this one because Jen at Two Tall Stitchers was stitching it, and actually she finished it, was it this summer, Jen? I can't remember for sure exactly when she finished it. It was in the last few months. And as she was stitching on it, I really liked it. And as I saw it come more and more to life, decided I needed to buy the chart. Well, I hadn't kitted it up or anything, but I loved it and just wanted it, if nothing else, to have it in the collection of charts, and someday maybe I would stitch it. Well, the reason why I pulled it out is because of the fabric I'm stitching it on. And so let me show you my start, and then I can tell you some more of the story. And this one has a smaller start than a lot of them. I only worked on this a couple days, and like I said, it had not been kitted up. So I didn't have all the flosses. I still don't. I had to order some of them, and that really threw me off. So I am learning, I don't like to start things if I don't have all the parts right from the get-go. So here is my start. So there's a leaf here and one of the gable, is that what it's called? Gable roof outline. This fabric is 40 count vintage mermaids firewood by Dames of the Needle. And I was picking up my craft room. You know, we all need to do that once in a while, right? And I picked this up and I went, oh, I need to start something on it right now, because this was a gift from my friend Michelle. This was part of the Halloween treat that she sent me. And so I really wanted a fall or Halloween start on it because of the color of the fabric. And I think this is going to look really good once I get all that stitching, because there's so much stitching in this chart. Let me show it to you one more time, that everything will show up. And so see, there's just lots and lots of stitches, dense stitching. So even though this is a little hard to see at the moment, once I fill it in with the called for color, which I'm waiting for, and once I stitch some of those flowers that are a brighter color, you know, those things are all gonna bring it, have it come together, and I think it's gonna look fantastic. So Michelle, I hope I made a good choice in using my gift fabric. And so I told you the fabric, so 40 count, that means 1 floss thread over 2 linen threads. I have never used any Dames of the Needle fabric before, so it's been fun to try it and stitch on it. And I love this color. I am planning to use all the called for colors. Like I said, I'm waiting for some of them. So I ended up, this is a center start, although it doesn't quite look like it. Like I found the center and then I counted over a few stitches to get started in a spot with floss that I had with me. So that is my start on Goodie Grimwood. And was an added, you know, I hadn't planned on doing any more Halloween type stitching. But when you find this fabric, when you're picking up and you're like, no, I need to start using it right now. So that's what I did. All right, number 24 start for my Celebrate 50 start along. Number 3 that I'm showing you today is also in this awesome project keeper from Tiger Lily Designs. And again, it's a fall theme, and so they go nicely together and can both fit in the project keeper. Here is the chart picture, Sunflower Farm from kathybarrick. And I'm pretty sure I showed this last video that I had it kitted up and intended to get it started soon. I love this one so much. And everything about it. So let's see. I'm using called for colors. Kathy offers, she offered, so it's a mix of DMC, Weeks, and Gentle Arts that I'm using. for several of the colors, she has a Weeks Dye Works alternative and a Gentle Arts alternative. And so I chose which of those two either I had or I liked better, if that makes sense. So like I said, I'm using a mix of the called for DMC, and then technically they're called for Weeks Dye Works and Gentle Arts. I just chose which one I wanted to use. So here is my start, and I actually plan on putting a few more stitches in this before I put it away. And let's see, fabric is 40 count Newport Beach. I don't know if I just had really bad sound there when I was holding that. 40 count Newport Beach from Needle and Flax. And you can see that there's some lovely modeling in there. And you know how much I love Needle and Flax. That means I'm stitching 1 floss thread over 2 linen threads. And this was actually an upper right start. This is the most upper right motif in the sort of the Quaker inspired motifs in the background. And then I worked my way over to this awesome bird. So that's what I was saying. I'm not going to put it away quite yet. I am going to at least finish the color that I'm using here for the bird. I won't necessarily get the dots done, but the rest of his tail. You can see he's got a tail there. So I think I want to at least finish that before I put it away. Just it will feel more like an even spot to end it with. So this is so fun to stitch, and I just love, love, love this color here that I'm using. That's the main body color of the bird, and then all of the motifs pretty much are this color. There's a lot of variation in it, and it's just really pretty. So I don't know. It's hard for me to tell if you can see that. It does not look like it does in person on the video from my point of view. So I don't know. Hopefully it shows pretty good. But yeah, so those are, yes, my 3 starts that I'm sharing with you today. So I'm up to 24 starts for my Celebrate 50 start along. I wanted to share with you today that I have come up with what I'm calling a big plan. It's something, I don't know, it just came to me, and I think it's a really fun idea, and it's something that I've talked about before. I've been planning for a while, but I found a new way to think about it. I don't know. Most of you probably are familiar with Pam and Steph Just Keep Stitching and Pam's plans for, what's her hashtag? 24 starts in 2024. Or also they're using 24 in 2024. And I had seen Pam's video, or Pam and Steph's video, but where Pam talked about all of her starts. And you already know about my Celebrate 50 start along. And so I was already going to be doing all these starts anyway. So I wasn't sure exactly if I was going to participate or do something for the 24 and 24. And someone left me a comment on, I think it was my last Flosstube. Maybe it was the one before that. I'm not sure. But she was mentioning that she planned on not doing 50 new starts, but was probably going to do like 24 and 24 or something kind of part of that, and could also choose to treat that as part of participating with me in my Celebrate 50. And so I was aware of the 24 and 24, but reading that comment, it was literally like a light bulb went off over my head when I read that, because I have a plan for a very big, very special project, and it is essentially 24 small parts to combine together to make the big project. So I am going to show you what my plans are for 24 and 24. I'm not sure what hashtag I'm exactly using yet. That'll come here when we get a little closer, but I wanted to show you because I was really, really, really excited about this, and I think it will be really fun. And it goes along with the Celebrate 50 Start Along, but this might be sort of a separate starts. I might consider it separate, and I might have, 50 other starts. I don't know how the numbers will work out. We'll see later on next year, but first, my plan is, I think it's going to be in this cool project bag from Tara at Starry Owl Stitchery. And the reason is, this is a line of fabric that's red and black, and it talks about love. Jeff's favorite colors are red and black. I had my big sampler back there in this project bag because of it was for celebrating him and I. Well, this great big project is for celebrating our 25th wedding anniversary, which will be January of 2025. So this is my intended project bag. Here is the current project bag, and I'm not sure if it if everything will fit in there. So we'll see. Maybe I have to use parts of it at a time. So you're like, okay, Michelle, what is the project? Well, I have been collecting, pardon the pun, I've been collecting the collector's hearts from Heart and Hand. And it started out when I got back into cross stitch. So the first one I bought that was, sort of like released, and I bought it because I really liked it, was 2021 when I got back into, about the time I got back into stitching. And then I was able to see that I could buy, older releases at shops and things. And so I started kind of collecting them. And at that time, I was kind of putting together the idea of, more of these I can find. And I've never done any kind of stitching or anything really to celebrate our wedding anniversary. And so I, at one time, was thinking, well, I'll just stitch each of them that I get, and I'll keep that corresponding year on the stitch. And then whatever ones I can't find, I'll just find other similar style stitches and put the corresponding year on those. Well, I started really working hard to gather each of these collector hearts. I now have from 1999 until 2023, I have them all, except one. It's 2006, and it's the bane of my existence right now. I check eBay every day. I watch the stash unload sites. I've asked for it a couple times. So I'm still, on like Facebook groups and stuff where it's, what chart are you looking for? Okay. So if any of you, I'll throw it out there. If any of you have 2006 collector heart from Heart and Hand, I would be forever grateful. So ideally, it will be the whole kit, which means the fabric and the embellishment and the chart. But I would settle for just the chart, because I can put together you know, I could choose some fabric and I can figure out an embellishment that would work. So that's where I'm at. I have them all. Well, my plan is I'm going to stitch each of them individually, you know, on the fabric that the chart came with. And then my plan is to take all of them together and create a large patchwork of putting them all together, and then frame it once I get that figured out, which a lot of these are quite small. I was going to tell you what this, let's see. Like this one says it used a 6x6 frame. I'm going to say this one is one of the larger ones. They're not usually quite that big. I don't know. Yeah, I can't tell real quick. So I think while it will be a large project to frame, I don't think it will be so large that I can't frame it within reason. So that's my plan, is I want to put all this together. It's in honor of our 25th wedding anniversary. So I would also like to include in it the 2025 collector heart, which obviously won't come out until after our anniversary. So the completion of everything all together won't happen until in the year of our 25th anniversary. And I'm okay with that. So back to how does this relate to 24 and 24? Well, I have one of them stitched. It's finished. It's been in the drawer for a while. And it's that 2021 collector heart. And I probably stitched it almost as soon as I got it. I have two more, I don't remember which ones, already started. So that leaves, if I was to do from 2000 to 2025, that's 26 total. And if I say I have one done already, that takes me down to 25. I don't have 2024s yet, so that takes me down to 24. I have two started, but that's okay. So the rest of them are all new starts. But I also plan to do one extra piece in the center, like I have a couple of Heart and Hand sort of wedding samplers, I'll call them, that are fairly small that I would like to put in the very center, and just to like acknowledge, you know, the wedding day. So, but again, I still have to kind of play around with that and figure all those details out. That is my 24 and 24 plan. And my plan is that I will start and finish the stitching for every one of them that I can, which will be a minimum of 24 in the year 2024. So that by the time 2025 comes along, I have an overall plan for the layout of the patchwork, and I can get 2025's collector heart and bring them all together, you know, really start to bring them together. And then I'm not trying to do the whole project in the year 2025. So that's my 24 and 24 plan. All the collector hearts. And I think that will be so fun to do. So that was my big plan that I wanted to share with you. And then I wanted to show you, so I told you I was doing a video because I wanted to cut off or have an even cut off with my fall stitching. So up next, I have two new starts that aren't seasonal specific that I planned as a dividing line between fall and then pulling out winter and Christmas. And let's see, let me go over the one. I'll show you a quick picture. I've talked about this lots of times before. In fact, the last video, I think I intended to start it before I showed you another video, but I haven't started it yet, but we're close. It's Modern Folk Embroideries, AKGIT 1833, a Verlanda sampler. And this was my intention to start with the hashtag BAP to school, SAL. Yes, okay. I'll try to remember to get that down here for you so you can see it. If I don't remember, it's in the description box below. Well, it just didn't happen. So now is the time I'm going to start it as a dividing line between the fall frenzy of starts and pulling out winter and Christmas. So that is on my agenda for starting in the next few days. I don't know exactly which day. And Jenni from Patchwork and Poppies, it's in this bag from her for part of what I'm going to say, out of one of my very favorite basic gray fabric lines. And also, she wants to stitch this and hasn't started it yet. She does now have her fabric, and so she plans on starting within the next few days also. So we're not starting exactly on the same day, but we're starting together. So that is really fun. Then this other start, I don't think I've talked about it yet. This is also in a Jenni Patchwork Poppies project bag, and this was one of the monthly clubs. I don't remember which month. If I guessed, I would say it was from April, but I don't know for sure. And I want to pull this out so I can show you. So when I told you I was cleaning my craft room up, well, not only did I come across the Halloween treat of fabric that Michelle sent me, but she also sent me some beautiful fabric for my birthday. And same thing, I'm like, I need to figure out where this is gonna go. And I was thinking about the things that I have kitted up. Kitted up to me means I have the called for floss, or the floss I intend to use to stitch it, and the chart. And then I will choose my fabric when I'm getting closer to actually starting it. Well, I had a couple of ideas of what to use this for, didn't really like the colors with it very well, and so I had started kitting something else up and decided it would be perfect. So I want to get this started also. Like I said, it's not seasonal. So here is my fabric. I don't know, maybe if I hold it on my board, it might show a little better, maybe. But that's my fabric, okay? And here is what I'm gonna start. Oh Joyous Day by Blackbird Designs. I know that Katie from So Tattered started this recently, and I apologize, I can't remember. She was starting it with someone, but I can't remember who it was. And there might be a few other people that started it. I've always thought this was beautiful. Elizabeth Ann stitched it. Loved it for a long time. I've had it for a while, and just seeing people recently starting it, I really want to get it out. So I was working on kitting it. I have almost all the floss. I've got to get a couple more. And like I said, this beautiful piece of fabric is just perfect for it. So, okay, Michelle, what's this beautiful fabric called? It is 40 count Coffee Bubbles, and I believe it's by Graham Cracker Fabrics, which is Kitten Stitcher's son does fabric. So I'm really anxious to give this a try because, well, first of all, I can't wait to stitch this, but I'm excited to use this fabric because it was a gift and Michelle told me it's one of her favorites. So yes, please, can I try it? So AKGIT and Oh Joyous Day, I'm starting in the next few days before I start any of my winter and Christmas stitching. And those are my main plans, and then I will go into winter and Christmas stitching. I have lots of things lined up and can't wait to start getting with that, and we'll get our tree up and everything. So let's see, I think, yes, that covers my list for today, except for one more thing that I want to remind you of. So as I was talking about winter and Christmas starts, I just want to remind you that on December 1st, which is a Friday, Michelle and I are going to start The Light of Winter by Brenda Gervais. We both been dying to start this and just came up with a good day for both of us to get it out and get it started. So if you have it or you're planning to get it and you want to get started with us, please join us. That does wrap up everything, and thank you so much for sharing your time with me and letting me talk about all of my fun that I've been having lately. Aren't I always having fun when I talk about my stitching? I think so. But in particular, sharing your time with me again so soon after the last video just came out not too long ago. And any of you new subscribers out there, thank you so much for joining along. It's very fun to see that happen and sort of meet you when you leave me comments. So I will wrap up by saying Happy Thanksgiving to all of you that are in the US, and thank you again for sharing your time with me, and I will talk to you soon.